The son of two Southwest Georgia coaches is now making an impact on athletes in the state of Alabama. We'll talk with David Cochran right after this on the Integrity Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, covering local sports in the Southwest Georgia area, creating content that is factual, positive, and informative, promoting efforts by athletes, coaches, and sports administrators. Now, here's your host, Tim Estes.
Hello and welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, powered by Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. If you have any tree trimming or stump removal needs, Harper's Tree and Stump Removal has you covered. They can haul rock and sand, they can repair pond dams or even build ponds, and now they do horizontal grinding of large wood debris piles. Give Keith a call at 229-314-2048. Make sure you get that number, 229-314-2048, or at 938-2412. Harper's Tree and Stump Removal is proud to be the premier sponsor of the Integrity Sports Podcast. Our guest today is David Cochran. He is the son of legendary Southwest Georgia coach David Cochran Sr. and Miss Gina Cochran, who also was a coach. Both of those coaches have made an impact on a lot of athletes here in Southwest Georgia. David, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tim. It's a blessing and truly excited to get this invite. I really appreciate it when you reached out to invite. I've noticed it several times on Facebook and everywhere else that you put it out there. So I really do appreciate it.
David, hey, before we talk a little about your career, I want to talk some about your parents. Your dad was really impactful on me, lit a fire under me early on. He was my first high school baseball coach, and he and I stayed close for many years when I became an adult. He was a motivator and a high energy type guy. I know your mom was a very successful women's basketball coach as well. Talk to us a little bit about what it was like growing up the son of two coaches.
Well, I can tell you one thing now. I couldn't ever get away with anything in school. They were always right there. But kind of going on Dad for a little bit. He impacted a lot of people, and that means a lot coming from you as one of the people that he did impact. And I'm pretty sure you're not the only one that first comes out of their mouth that he was a high energy guy. He was always intense. He loved every sport that he coached in, with football and baseball, and just took the game to heart. He is who I am today. He's the guy that I'm trying to chase, in the footsteps I'm trying to chase, and just make an impact, just like he did to so many people in Georgia, from North Georgia all the way down to South, and even some out of state. And as for my mom, she's still the rock that I lean on still today. She was very successful, no matter where we ended up. I always gave my dad a hard time. I'm like, how are you going to sit there and let mom have more wins than you, so to speak, sometimes, just because she was always successful too. But, that was one thing growing up in a competitive household and a family full of coaches, was that, we all wanted to be successful, and it wasn't so much more about wins and losses. It was just who could they impact and put their hand on to help in any kind of way, even beyond the high school game.
Right.
I know both of my parents, they still stayed in touch with so many people, even if they went on to play a sport, or if they went on into the workforce, or if they went on just to start a family or anything. I remember so many people stopping by that house in Buena Vista, and former players, from all sports, to just show love and respect. And, it was also a good eye-opening experience too, when my dad did pass away, and at his funeral, seeing so many people that he touched showed up and be there for me and my family. That just speaks volumes. I mean, you could just tell in that kind of a moment how many people he touched and had an impact on.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. David, I know you grew up some in this Southwest Georgia area. You went to Southland Academy for a little while, also over at Chattahoochee County. But kind of walk us through your journey as a young athlete growing up here in the Southwest Georgia area.
Yeah, so being in Southwest Georgia, that's finally where we kind of called home. Obviously born in Augusta, went from Augusta to Monticello down to Rochelle to Wilcox County, and then Wilcox County over to Buena Vista, and went to Marion County,
Right.
then went to Southland, and then went to Chattahoochee. So that's the part of being in a coach's family. You never know where you're going to end up, but it was. I wouldn't trade it for the world. That I loved growing up there. I had so much fun meeting people when I was younger and in school with, and even kept the connections with still to this day. So it was really, really fun. It was kind of one of them things that you kind of wish you could kind of replay over again from your childhood, because I met so many people, whether from the game of football, baseball, basketball. It was all, it was all fun, and we all loved each other. And I've never been a part of something that young to see so many people care about the youth at the time, and really pour into the youth as we were there in Americus and all that kind of stuff, to really see it succeed and build for the future. So it was really a fun time. And then going from there and finally graduating from Chattahoochee, that's a place that still holds dear to my heart as well. Being able to walk across that stage and being able to say that I am an alumni from Chattahoochee County, it still holds a special place in my heart, because, once again, not trying to be all sentimental, but, that's the last place we all were together as a family.
Right.
So,
And Dave, they were a fairly young school when you went there, in a new building, and they're really coming on strong now in all of their sports. So it's good to see that. David, when you were growing up here, we've built a pretty good following here on this show over the last 28 weeks. We got a lot of folks that'll watch this, so I want you to do some name dropping here. But who are some of the folks that you were friends with that may still be in this area, and maybe some of those coaches that impacted you as a young guy?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. There's way too many to name, so I'm gonna just go ahead and start off by saying I apologize if I do leave anybody off. But obviously, to start off with, people like there in Americus that impacted, even when my dad was still alive, and we were. I remember people like Ty Kinslow, Coach Kinslow, and Coach Scott that was there at Southland as well. That was the boys coach, and those two. When my time at Southland, obviously along with my parents, they were just they were almost like second father figures.
Yeah.
And they kind of took me under their wing, and of course I became friends with people like Banks and so many others in that group that we had success in the middle school years. And fun fact, even back in I want to say it was the 8th grade, we went undefeated in every single sport we played at South.
I remember that.
There. And, everybody was kind of calling us the next group to kind of, put Southland, back on the map, something that them seniors like Blaze Hargrove and all of them that went to so many state championships in their 4 years of Southland, that was, so those two had a tremendous impact, just outside. And then moving to Chattahoochee, things like Josh Kemp. He was there at the time. Coach McManus, who he was a defensive coordinator at Chattahoochee at that time. He lives in Phoenix City now. Just a huge impact from going from there when I was new, and they knew that I was new coming in. They made it more adjustable, and Dad and Mom did everything they could, obviously, but for people that were already there to have the impact, it was just. They were huge. And like I said, I know there's probably many more that I am forgetting. And if I do think of them, I'll be sure to stop you in the middle of it and say, hey, I got a good one about that person. But like as the time goes along there, and, I had obviously my grandmother, she lived in Americas as well. I would always stay down there when we had stuff going on at Southland. People like Raleigh Hancock and all them that we once again in school with. And, the biggest kind of group we had, it was them, it was Banks, it was, Davis Moore, Luke Alexander, Colin. So many of us that, I just remember, being so close and being able to do everything together sports wise that really impacted us not only on the field, but outside of it. We would hang out, we would go swimming, we would, go to the Zaxby's right there in front of the Winn-Dixie. I mean, just do all of that kind of stuff, just really bond and make that brotherhood.
Yeah. Now, David, you and I share something very special. When you left high school, you went over to Montgomery, Alabama, to Faulkner University on a football scholarship. That's also my alma mater. Very special place. Talk to me a little bit about that journey you had over at Faulkner.
It started as an up and down one. When I first got there, I had to go straight into fall camp, and not even the first week into fall camp, I tore my ACL and my meniscus. So I'm there, and I'm like, I don't even know if I even belong out here with something dealing with this. I had to be in a wheelchair and crutches for several weeks, and it was tough, but getting through that, met some people along the way there early that are people that, were in my wedding, people that, that really and truly kind of, everybody knows you kind of grow apart from your high school friends to your college friends, and meeting those guys. I mean, it was just a huge impact. And then not only just the friends, but the campus itself, those professors and administrators and counselors and admissions people, they truly cared about the student, and especially about me. And they still do, because I know some ones that are still working there. They worked with me during that tough time. Obviously getting older, they watched me turn in from little kid from high school in Southwest Georgia to going away from 2.5 to 3 hours to growing up and being a man on your own. It was a real impact positively on my life. And also it's where I met my beautiful wife, the one that makes this operation run. It really was that 4 to 4.5 years was really, really a blessing in my life. And once again, helped me mold and turn into kind of the man that I am today.
David, we are sponsored each week by a few folks. One of those is a good friend of your family. It's Marty McDonald. He owns the State Farm Insurance Agency here. Marty's located at 925 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard here in Americus. Drop by and see Marty or any of his fine staff, or give them a call at 928-3686. They'd be happy to sit down and discuss your insurance needs with you. Marty can even do the discount double check to make sure that you're getting all the savings that are there for you. And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. So, David, I want you to walk us through your career so far. And my understanding is you are the head men's basketball coach at Stanhope Elmore High School. That's the alma mater of my wife, by the way. But tell us where you started. When you left Faulkner, kind of walk us through that journey from that point to right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I graduated Faulkner in 2016 and I got lucky enough to get a job at Airport Road Intermediate School here in Millbrook, actually Coosada, Alabama, teaching 3rd and 4th grade PE. From there, I kind of got my foot in the door with coaching, and immediately jumped in and helped the high school team out. I was a defensive coach on the staff here at Stanhope Elmore my very first year, and hold on, baby, come here, and yeah, there she is.
That's what it's all about, right there. Yeah,
Claire, can you say hey?
Hey there.
So went from there and stayed there for 3 years. Kind of worked my way up the ladder football wise. I spent the first year on defense. The second year I got moved over to offense, was coaching some receivers for 2 years. And then after that third year, I was there for 4 years. After that, went up and started teaching up at the high school. So the high school was teaching PE there. After that, sorry.
That's all right.
Hey, baby. Okay. So after that, I was able to start helping with basketball. Got my foot in the door there. What, baby? Yes, mom, he'll get it for you. And then after that, was able to get my foot in the door with basketball. I was an assistant coach there, and then once the head coach left there, they kind of hired from within and stepped up there and was the head coach starting in 2020, the COVID year,
Yeah.
which was so tough, because you had to follow so many guidelines, and it was really hard. It was tough just because, like I said, you had to maintain a seating chart. You had to maintain somebody with, who had their correct water bottle and so on and so forth. So that was a tough experience. But ever since then, we've done really well with it, with a program that, historically, to up until about, I would say, 2017 really just was non-existent in basketball until the early 2000s. They made a Final Four run back in 2001, 2002, and then from there just kind of went through some tough times. And so we've done really well. My first year we went 13-14. 2 years ago we went 17-12, and then last year we finished 14-14. So we've been around that 500 mark, which is not, we want to obviously push to get to 20, but for a school like Stanhope Elmore, it has been successful. We are taking steps in the right direction, and more importantly, we're seeing more kids, going to college, going to and even playing at college level, or going and getting involved. We have a very great ROTC program here. They're going into the workforce, and and some of them are just going ahead and starting a job as soon as they get out of high school, and that means more to me than any of those wins or losses I just spit out. So it's been fantastic. I did step down from the varsity level of football this past year just because I have 2 kids now.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be at home a little bit more with them and watch them grow up. And so I am going to be the middle school head coach here at Millbrook Middle School here in Millbrook. But like I said, that's the 2 that I'll be doing here, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I know my wife has enjoyed living here as well. We have really enjoyed the Millbrook community and the Prattville community, and we just really want to continue to see this thing grow and build and do it the right way, like my parents did.
Well, and you're doing that, I think. David, are you getting ready to start another school year? Here's what I want to know. You talk about wins and losses, and certainly as a coach going into every season, you kind of mentally have that idea of, okay, here's who I've got, here's what we need to do. But as you get ready to start a new school year, do you ever think about how can I really be a positive impact on these student athletes?
Oh, every year. I think the biggest thing is that the thing that we harp on our kids about is being a student athlete. You got to be a student first.
Yeah.
Well, in order my role, and once again, this came from my lovely wife, and she had to humble me, sort of say, but she told me, you are a teacher, then a coach. So that 8 to 3 job, Mr. Tim, is so important to me, because now I have not only the impact of my 25 to 30 basketball kids, I got the impact of 1,200 students. Some that'll see me during lunch, some that'll see me during snacks, some that have me as a PE coach, some that will, just be passing in the hallway and say, hey, Coach Cochran, how you doing?
Yeah.
And to be a positive influence like that for them that goes a long way to me. We had a really tough time last year, Mr. Tim, and it was really sad for our community. And I said we had 2 suicides at Stanhope Elmore, and it really brought the school back together. And some of the stuff that the school did to help the students, and you saw the faculty come together and the students come together, and it was really amazing to see that support that they had for the students, who are the first and foremost, are the most important thing that we have. And that was really, it was really a tough time, but it was something that I was so thankful for, that to see the school and the staff really kind of put, and the Board of Education as well. I mean, that everybody was just on board. Anything that they needed, they got it done, and we also helped the kids as well. I mean, it was, like I said, that is the biggest impact that I'll take from it, is that now I have 1,200 kids. I don't have necessarily 2. I have 1,200. So I'm very thankful for them, and I've enjoyed watching some of those men and women in there, grow up and watching them grow up, because I've been with them for 4 years now. So I've seen them start from little scrawny ninth graders and, go up to be 12th graders. And now they're walking across the stage getting a diploma. So
Yeah.
that's a real blessing of mine. And I'm so thankful that I get to, do that, experience that, and be a part of that.
Here's one of the fun parts of the show, David. Each week I give my guests a chance to talk about their families. And before we went on today, you and I were talking about what a small world it is. We both grew up here in Southwest Georgia. We both went to Faulkner. I've known your dad pretty much my whole life. I've also known your in-laws. They were two of the finest Christian students that I met when I was at Faulkner University. But tell us a little bit about your family, your wife, your kids, your in-laws, everybody.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, I met my wife at Faulkner, Taylor McMath at the time. And she thankful for her. If it wasn't for her, Mr. Tim, I don't know, I might still be at Faulkner University. So, no, she met me at the right time. And I was just so thankful. She said yes to me. We have two beautiful kids. As you saw, Evelyn Claire. Here, she just turned 3 years old this summer. And then we have Everett, who is in bed right now, sleeping just soundly. And he was born in March. And so he's about to be 5 months old. So we have them. And then, obviously, Taylor's parents, Mr. John and Miss Angela McMath, very, very, very huge, and very, like you described it, perfect, just perfect Christian examples and people. And, their family, because, Taylor's got a sister as well, and Kaylee, and, just that whole side of the family, just been nothing but supportive of whatever it is that Taylor and I need, whether, be discussing up another school year or, just whatever. They have been, they have really brought me in as family. Even before me and Taylor, got married, they treated me amazing. And, that when they were apart, obviously, one of the toughest times going through my life and losing my dad. And I just remember, Mr. John really just stepping up and being that father figure for me that I really needed at that time, because I had some stuff that I was going through as well. And I didn't have my dad anymore. So it was like, I don't know who to turn to. And, obviously I know my mom, but she was going through it as well. And so it was just huge. They mean more to me than words can ever describe. And then obviously my mom and my sister, they're doing absolutely well. They are in Carrollton, Georgia. Carly has become a teacher as well. She is married.
I didn't know that.
Yep. She is married, and her name is now Kevin Frazier, or to Kevin Frazier. Her name is Carly Frazier. Excuse me. They have a beautiful little boy who just turned a year old in Carter. And my mom lives up there with them as well. So everybody here has just turned into the educator, and we have just, kind of kept that going in with the Cochran name and everything. And, it's been fantastic. If it wasn't for my family on both sides, I don't know if I'm sitting here talking to you today. I don't know if I have some of the impact if it wasn't for any of them, because without them, as you know, and as every coach knows, we're nothing. Because Taylor, she's a rock star now. Being with two kids and being gone from October to February, and them long nights and not coming home. I mean, it's tough with two kids. And she don't say a word. She brings them, and they support, and she just keeps it going, man. She's a rock star. So, but yeah, my family is very, very. That's tight to me. And then also my older sister, she just had her daughter graduate high school up in Atlanta. She's in Swanee, her and Jason. And then she's got the boy Andrew, who is just about to start high school for them. So like I said, it's just, time flies. It flies, because it's so much. But yeah, my family has been a big support group for me. And all of them, from Ashley to Carly to Mom to Kaylee to, Mr. John and Miss Angela, and then most importantly, my wife. So it's been really, really fun, and having them here with me along to kind of watch me grow and reach my goals as well.
We are talking with David Cochran. David is from the Southwest Georgia area originally. He is now the head men's basketball coach at Stanhope Elmore High School in Millbrook, Alabama. David, our program is also brought to us today each week by WMNZ AM 1050. That's a radio station in neighboring Macon County, and they do something really neat. They take our audio off this program every week and play it on their radio station. So we certainly want to thank Lance Teal and the staff at WMNZ AM 1050. As we get ready to wrap this up, David, and certainly want to thank you for being our guest. It's always great to see one of our own doing well and making a positive impact on the next generation. Here's how I want to wrap up, though. David, we have 1,800 to 2,000 people on average that are listening to this show and watching it every week now. It's really grabbed some legs, and it's growing. And you now have an opportunity to talk to many of them. I'm guessing roughly half of those are student athletes, and you get to see high school student athletes a lot. As you talk to them, you're now a coach. You went through the thing as a college athlete. You've been in their shoes. What advice do you give them as they look toward their future?
Something that I tell my kids every day is don't take it for granted. When you blink before your high school sports career will be over. And like I said, a lot of them will have the lucky opportunity maybe to go on to the next level. A lot of them will not. And the one thing that I tell every single one of my kids is you need to treat it like it's your last. You need to treat it like it's your last. You need to practice like it's your last practice you're going to be at. You need to play the game, no matter if it's the very first game of the year or the last game of the year. You play it like it's your last, because when it's over, there's only so much air a ball can hold. It's going to go flat eventually. And that's one thing that if I had a chance to tell even my younger self or even the younger generation now, and what I've been telling my kids is give it all you got when you got it. Because like I said, eventually that ball is going to go flat and you're going to look back and you're going to say, man, I wish I would have done this. Man, I wish I would have done that. And you just don't want to have them regrets, especially with so many people now that have the opportunity to do whatever they want to do at the next level, whether it be play basketball, whether it's softball, baseball, football. It's so much. Don't take it for granted, because it can be gone like that. And then next thing you know, you got to figure out what you want to do with your life and so on and so forth. So definitely don't take it for granted. And, obviously love your support system that's got your back. Your family, whether it be, mom and dad or grandma or grandpa or, aunt, uncle, whatever it is, tell them you love them back. Tell them you appreciate everything that they've done for you to get you at the spot where they're at, because obviously we don't have to keep repeating it, but one day that'll be gone, and you want to make sure that they know it. And, I know they'll tell you they know it anyways, but it's also good to hear. And, you just want to make sure that they know that you appreciate everything that they've done for you.
David, man, it's been great to have you. Want to wish you the best of luck in this new school year over at Stanhope Elmore. I want you to know how proud we are as people here in Southwest Georgia to watch a guy like you, who's the son of somebody we dearly love, do well in this profession. And I know a lot of our viewers will now start following you, kind of now that they know where you're at. And I hope you'll come back and be a part of this again sometime. This thing just keeps growing every week, and I don't know what it's going to turn into, but it seems to be a hit so far, and we're glad you were a part of it.
Well, Mr. Tim, thank you so much for the invite. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be on here with you. Thank you for everything that you're doing for not only obviously Southwest Georgia, but reaching over here into Alabama and remembering a good old boy like me. So I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for everything that you said about, me and my family, and most importantly, my dad. It means a whole lot. And as for the people that are watching and the followers, I hope I do. I hope I make y'all proud, just like you said. And, anytime anybody's over in my neck of the woods, all they got to do is just either message me, call me, whatever. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I greatly appreciate everything, Mr. Tim, from the bottom of my heart, because I also remember you also helped me get into Faulkner as well at that time too. So I'm just indebted to you. Thank you so much to you and your family. And like I said, I'm so glad to be a part of this show, and really glad that it's taken off for you.
And we want to thank you, the viewer, for making the Integrity Sports Podcast a part of your weekly routine. Remember, we're powered each week by Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. If you're watching today on Facebook, make sure and hit the like button and share this video. That's how we get our viewership up. But we're really trying to push our YouTube presence. We need to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark by the end of the year. So watch on Facebook, hit the subscribe button, and that will help us greatly. We will be available not only on Facebook and YouTube, but on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and on 7 other podcast or social media platforms. For my friend, David Cochran, I'm your host, Tim Estes. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody.